have been running my own technology consulting firm since 2006. And in that time, I've watched professionals, non-technical professionals, I want to make that distinction, go from a salary they were grateful for to billing $950 a day as independent consultants. Did you hear what I said? I'm going to say it again for the people who didn't hear it in the back. $950 a day, which is about $200,000 a year. And I'm talking about roles such as business analysts, project managers, organizational change managers, trainers. I'm not talking about developers or software engineers. And today, I'm going to be giving you the real numbers by role and experience level so you can stop guessing and start deciding when you're going to stop doubting yourself and make the shift. Because one of the most common things I hear from professionals who are considering a pivot into technology consulting is this: is it actually worth it? And can I really make more money than I'm making right now? And that's the right question. You absolutely should be asking that question, but I want to tell you that the answer might surprise you. I'm talking about situations where professionals with 10, 15 years of corporate experience who have been underpaid relative to their value they deliver are able to step into consulting and immediately earn more than they did in their best year working as a W-2 employee. And when you start working as an independent consultant, the income ceiling you think is there as a cap disappears. So let's get into it. I'm going to be breaking down 5 entry-level consulting roles that non-technical professionals commonly pivot into, what they pay at different stages, and what the path to independent consulting actually looks like financially. If by chance this is the first time you are on my channel, hey there, I'm Tammy L. Davis, a former administrative assistant turned tech consulting CEO who supports professionals turn their everyday skills into high value technology consulting careers. Stick with me, and you're ready to explore a career into technology consulting. The first step is joining the Pivot Lobby. It's my free community where we have conversations like this every single week. I want you to scan the QR code that popped up somewhere on the screen or click the link in the description box to join. So now let's get into it, and let's start with the roles. These are the 5 most common entry points for non-technical professionals who are making the shift into technology consulting. Go ahead, get your pencil, get your notepad, and pay attention. Stay with me, because again, there's 5. Let's start with role number 1, business analyst. This is the role that I pivoted into from being an administrative assistant. I like to call the business analyst the translator because the BA sits, I'm just going to say BA for short, the BA sits between the client's business requirements and the technical team's deliverables. Now, entry-level BA roles at consulting firms, they typically range from $65,000 to $85,000 a year. When you add on 3 to 5 years of experience, that salary jumps to $90,000 to $120,000 a year. And senior BAs or lead BAs on complex enterprise resource planning implementations. So when I say ERP, I'm talking about the Oracles, the Workdays, the SAPs. They regularly get anywhere between $130,000 to $160,000 a year, plus benefits and bonuses. And you do realize that there are BAs that serve as independent contractors, and their rates on a daily basis range anywhere between $600 to $1,200 a day, depending upon the platform, their expertise and industry niche. And if you take that, what they make on a daily basis from an independent standpoint, that's anywhere between $150,000 to $300,000 a year for consistent project work. Role number 2, organizational change management specialist. I'm going to shorten that for OCM, which is arguably the hottest entry point right now because the demand is enormous and well qualified. And I want to stress that the well qualified supply is thin. Companies are finally starting to understand that the number one reason technology implementations fail is user adoption. And OCM specialists are the ones who support solving that problem. Now, let me give you the cost breakdown or the salary breakdown for the entry-level OCM roles. They run anywhere between $70,000 to $90,000 a year. Mid-level practitioners with a certification such as ProSci, APMG International, which is a certification that I have, routinely earn between $100,000 to $140,000 a year. And those senior OCM roles on the enterprise level programs, they can really range between $150,000 to $200,000 a year. That, of course, is not unusual. Now, from an independent OCM consultant, they actually bill anywhere between $800 to $1,500 per day or more, depending upon the project, the client, and if they are a lead with a team of other OCM consultants underneath them. Role number 3, implementation consultant. This is the role that lives the closest to the technology deployment. So in other words, they manage go live timelines and they support the client through cutover. Now, many aspects of being an implementation consultant can be technical, especially when you're looking at it from some of the tasks that they do, a configuration and interface development standpoint. But most of the work is coordination, client communication, and process documentation, skills you already have. Salary range for your implementation consultants can range from an entry level, $75,000 to $100,000 a year, $110,000 to about $150,000 with platform certifications. So your Oracle certifications, your Workday certifications, even your certifications, let's say with Salesforce. And contract rates, so on the independent side, run anywhere between $700 to $1,300 a day for experienced implementers. And if you want to know more about these roles, I've done 3 already. I only have 2 more to go, so stick with me. And you're ready to explore a career into technology consulting, the first step is joining the Pivot Lobby. It's my free community where we have conversations like this every single week. I want you to scan the QR code that popped up somewhere on the screen or click the link in the description box to join. Now let's get to the next role, project manager. If you've managed timelines, stakeholders, budgets, deliverables in any corporate setting, you have already been doing project management work. The consulting version of being a project manager, you just get to apply it to technology and or business implementations. So let's get into the money. Entry-level PM roles on a yearly basis, anywhere between $65,000 to $85,000. PMP certified PMs on tech projects can make anywhere between, again, starting $100,000 to $140,000. And those senior PMs managing multiple work streams, $150,000 a year and up. From a contract standpoint, so if you're serving as an independent contractor, contract rates can be anywhere between $600 on the lower side per day, all the way up to $100 per day or more, again, depending upon the project, the client, and the type of technology being implemented. Oracle, SAP, Workday, for example, those types of ERP projects, they command higher rates. Now let's go ahead and get into the last role. Role number 5 is instructional designer or trainer. Every single major technology/system implementation requires training. Someone has got to design the curriculum, build the materials, and deliver the training sessions that turn employees who may have been skeptical with their new ways of working, who may have been resistant, into power users. And I'm going to tell you, an instructional designer and or trainer is one of the most overlooked entry points into this field, and it's wide open. Entry-level salaries for an instructional designer range $55,000 to $75,000. If you have e-learning or LMS platform expertise, that salary is going to jump to $90,000 to $120,000. And those trainers that specialize in a specific platform like Workday, SAP, Oracle, Command on the independent side, premium contract rates anywhere between $500 to over $1,100 per day, and even higher if you are serving in a lead role. Now, I want to put these numbers in context because the salary comparisons only tell part of the story. As a W-2 employee, you know that your earnings are capped. Yes, you get a salary. You might even get a bonus, maybe, some equity in that company in the form of stock if you're lucky. Your raises are tied to performance reviews, budget cycles, even what your manager decides you are worth. You have limited leverage. But as a consultant, whether you're working for a firm or independently, your income is tied to the value you deliver on each engagement. And because consulting engagements in the technology space are priced as a premium, and the reason why they are is because the stakes are higher. A failed ERP implementation, and I've seen this time and time again, can cost a company tens of millions of dollars, and consultants who prevent that failure are worth every single dollar they bill. So let me give you a real example. A professional with 15 years in HR, let's just say. They've been a steady earner, they're a great performer, and they are maxed out about $85,000 a year, maybe 100. Okay, let's give them 100 grand a year. That same professional with that HR background with 15 years, they come into the industry as an OCM consultant. Within 18 months, they're able to start billing at $950 a day, working primarily on Workday implementations. Do you realize that that's over $200,000 a year working the same amount of hours just about that she did as an employee? That's the math when you position your expertise properly in a high demand market. And I'm going to tell you, those roles that I just went through, we're in a high demand market. Now, let me shed some light on the independent consulting path. Most people don't go and should not go independent on day one. I'm a firm believer, and I tell my members in the Pivot Circle that you should be a W-2 employee when you first make the shift into this technology consulting industry. So a typical pivot pathway looks like this. I'm going to break it down to 3 different stages. Stage 1, you land or you get into your first consulting role, either with a software company, a system integrator, or a management consulting firm. You build your platform-specific experience and you start to understand and really learn consulting methodology. And that phase, stage 1, you working as an employee with one of those 3 areas that I just said, that typically runs anywhere between 12 to 24 months. Stage 2, this is where you start to specialize in a platform. You pick an industry niche and you are on the path of building a track record in that specific area. This is where your rates start to move and you are going from generalist to specialist. And from a dollar standpoint, the market is going to respond to that. And the last stage, stage 3, this is where you go independent. So you have a portfolio of your work. You have a network of clients and peers. And you have proven yourself over time that clients, especially your past clients, will come back directly to you. Your rate reflects your reputation and you get to control your schedule and income. But I want to be very clear that not everyone wants to go fully independent. Working for a consulting firm or a company as a W-2 is 1,000% fine. It's well compensated path. You remember, rewind this video, you can go back to what I was breaking down the salaries. The point is that the independent option does exist and earnings in that direction are real. So I think about, I'm looking at my post-it over here, and I'm thinking about, and actually I'm gonna stop this video. I'm actually gonna get up and get my little post-it that I have on my whiteboard because I actually break down my salary history. I don't even know if I'm gonna edit this out, but on my whiteboard, I have my salary rate history. So first, I told you, $35,000 a year I was making as an administrative assistant. in technology consulting. While I was on that engagement, I joined Oracle as an employee, as a senior consultant slash business analyst, and my salary jumped to $75,000 a year. Once I left Oracle, I was there almost 3 years. I left and I went to another company as a requirements analyst, requirements specialist slash BA, and I was making $110,000 a year. Still a W-2 employee. I then went to another company, Number 6 Software, and I was making $150,000 a year. In 2006, that's when I started Next Level Consulting Services, my company as an independent contractor. My hourly rate then jumped to $100 per hour. Again, I've run my own company since 2006, and I know what the path looks like from the inside. That was my path. I just gave you the numbers, but again, when I became a BA, I worked for Oracle for almost 3 years. I went in 1998, I left in 2001, and then I continued to be a W-2 employee until 2006. So that's 8 years. I just gave you a breakdown of all of my salaries: $35K, $75K, $110K, $150K. It was 8 years until I became an independent consultant. And during those 8 years, that's when I started to develop my niche, my specialty, what I wanted to be known for: training, organizational change management, and communication. I built the Pivot Circle specifically to help people navigate their own path in the fraction of time that it took me when I made that transition from an administrative assistant to a business analyst with Oracle Corporation, and my roles beyond being a BA. If you are currently underpaid relative to the value that you deliver, if you have been wondering whether there is a higher use, greater impact of your experience that you have spent years building, the numbers in this video answer that question. There is a market, and that market is actively looking for people like you. I speak from experience, and I'm currently mentoring career professionals to do the same thing using their current skills, background, and experience into high-paying tech consulting careers. Now, if you're ready and you're serious about making this move, then the next step for you is to book a Pivot Clarity call. It's a free one-on-one 30-minute conversation where you and we look at your background, goals, and map out what your specific consulting path looks like. The link also to book that call is in the description. And if you're ready to explore a role in technology consulting, you get to join the Pivot Lobby. It's free, and where this community lives with other professionals curious about this industry. I also want to tell you that the Pivot Lobby is also the best place to engage and ask questions that you might have before you take the leap. In addition, as a Pivot Lobby member, you have access to my newly created Skills Translator tool. This is the first ever career transformation platform that shows you exactly how your skills translate into a specific technology consulting role. Again, scan the QR code that has popped up on your screen or click the link in the description box. Now, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss another episode from me. Because in the next episode, you're going to discover how to position your current experience for tech consulting roles by crafting your professional origin story. We all have one. I know mine is in this library of videos that I have, and also your pivot statement. I'll see you next week.